Okay, here we go. This is going to be a big job. First off, I want to start by showing you one of the problems that I'm having here. This is a 98 Chevy 2500 Silverado with a 454. And one of the actuators, it's actually the fresh air door or the recirculation door mode actuator, is not working right. And let me just show you what it sounds like. Now, a lot of guys are saying theirs is making a loud popping noise, but this is a little more of a grinding noise. It's not real loud, but I think you'll be able to hear it. As soon as I turn the key on, and what's happening is the thing's just running constantly, and it's not disengaging. It's not shutting off when it's supposed to run the door one way and the other, and it's not working right. So let me show you what it sounds like.
Okay, there's the actuator. It's really hard to be able to see up in there. You can hear that. Sounds like gears that are stripped out. And as long as the key's on, it's just doing that constantly.
Okay, now for the other problem I'm having is the mode door actuator is right here, and you can see that little linkage is just hanging down there, and that's because I took it off already.
You can see the place where it mounts on in the back there. Anyway, the flapper door up in there has just fallen out.
Okay, starting from this point, I have the metal plates off that were here across underneath the steering column. They're already off, and I'm going to start from this point showing you what you need to do in order to lay the steering column down. And you can't lay it the whole way down on the floor. I have the seat out. If you let the seat in, you could lay it on the seat, but it's going to be a lot harder to work. So if you set a block here or something to set it on, because if you hinge it the whole way down against the floor, it's too far. The wiring's going to bind in there. So to make it easy and give the wiring a little bit more room to move, what I did is took this screw right here out, the fuse panel, and it'll just fall loose in there. I'm going to start here on the driver's side and just work my way over. The next thing you need to take off are these bolts here, here, and these two here and down here. And then that small piece just comes out of there. This wire is fastened to it, but that's no problem. And that gives you access to move the steering column down. And then this bolt here, or nut I should say, and this nut up in there, and then the two down here close to the floor, the firewall, either side of the steering column. And then you also need to take this small screw right here, that also needs to come out in order for it to tilt down. And then once you take those screws, these nuts off here on the steering column, it will be loose and it will just come right down. So you need to be prepared for that. Also right here, this bolt right here needs to come out. That allows it to tilt. Okay, now we're over on the passenger side. The next thing you need to take loose is, this is of course after the glove box is out. You need to take the glove box out to access these screws. This bolt and this bolt. Those just need to be loose and they don't need to be taken out. And then the other one down underneath on the other side, this is just exactly the same spot as the one was on the driver's side, right up underneath the dash there, out the outside. That one also has to come out. And then I think that's everything down there. And then you just need to take the 3 screws out up here on top of the dash. 1, 2, 3. Now these, you can see this one broke out for me here. it was broken out when I took it loose. So once you have that loose, the dash should hinge right down. Okay, time for an update here. As you can see, things look a lot different here. So, I'm not quite sure where to start here, but I'm just going to let you see a little bit what we got here. The dash is obviously tilted front. The steering column was taken loose and dropped down so I could get that dash to fold down like that. I have the dash kind of propped up here however I could. And this side, this hinge point right here, I was able to get loose off of this pin right there by actually, I didn't have it down far enough at first on the driver's side, but I had to tilt it down a little further. I had this where I had the steering column, I couldn't quite get it, so I had to tilt it down a little further to actually get this long point on the back here to pass that, because it goes up against this thing right here. This is one of the main problems that I was taking this apart to fix. As you can see, down inside this box here, where the flappers are to direct the airflow from either the defrost or the floor, those two doors have just fallen out. You can see that one there, and this one back in here is it just fell out in there. They're not doing what they need to do anymore. And now for the removal of the HVAC box. Obviously, first of all, you'll need the system, AC system evacuated, and you'll have to remove the accumulator, because that's bolted directly into the heater evaporator, which will be coming out with the HVAC box and clamping off these lines, coolant lines, into the heater core as well, because that'll all come out as a one piece from the inside. I just used quick grip clamps, clamped off the coolant lines running into the heater core. We have three screws right here, down there, and over there. This is after the coolant reservoir is taken out, which was bolted in right here. Also have a nut right here, which is a stationary pin fastened to the HVAC box, which sticks to the wall. So you need to take that nut off. And then we have two screws back in behind the engine right there. You can see them. And then that's everything that you need to take off from the engine compartment side. And then there's one screw, last of all, that's holding it in from the inside. If you go inside and look directly above the HVAC box, up in there, way back in, you'll see this screw right here. You just take that out, and then the whole HVAC box will be loose. You can pull it right out. So it's very simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws and one nut, and then take this off from the inside, and you got it. I actually got the HVAC box completely out. Mess of wires. We can really see what our problems are here. For number one, this actuator right here is bad. It needs to be replaced. I have a new one, so that one's going to get bolted on. Basically what I'm going to do now is take the evaporator out, take this box apart, take the evaporator out. I have a new evaporator right here that's going in, and I'm going to take this box and clean the whole thing out. It's all dusty and junky in there. And this whole top thing here is going to be replaced. I have a new one right here. So that should be easy. This goes right on there to replace that one. These doors, two doors in here just kind of fell out. So need to fix that. Thinking I might end up just replacing both these other actuators too. I have the whole system out. It's easy to get to them. It's a little hard to know where to stop and start, but being everything's so hard to access up in there, especially this one right here. It's right up in behind the dash where it's basically impossible to get to without taking the dash out like I have now. So while I have it out, I might as well replace it. They're not expensive, about $25. This one over here is actually the most expensive one for some reason, which is the recirculation or the fresh air intake. actuator. These two appear to be the same one from my research, what I can tell. And they're a little cheaper. That one's about 40 bucks. These are 25, something like that. So maybe I'll just replace them too while I'm at it. The gasket was pretty torn up here on the evaporator, and this is the stuff that was on the heater core. Oh, not much, not really great stuff, just sort of cheesy. So I replaced it with this. Just put this window sealer stuff in I got from Ace. So I think that'll do the job fine. Okay, ready to go back together. Placed these. This was the bad one over here. The one that's in the back here. This is the side of the heater box that goes toward the firewall. And this one here is the one that was bad, that operates this flap in there. And since I have the whole thing out, I just decided to replace both the others right away. This one and this one over here. And got the linkage back together. This also I replaced. This top section, splitting it right here. Top side of this box comes off, and this whole section I just replaced with the new flappers in. So everything's back together, ready to go back in the truck. Complete new AC system. Haven't charged it yet, but that's the only thing I have to do yet is recharge the system. And here's the junk pile. Old floor mats and the new. Wow, it's a good feeling to have that project done. So I basically did a total recon while I was at it too. Had everything apart. This thing was filthy, and I just gave it a real thorough cleaning. New floor mats and the works. So like a new truck again. Not quite, but makes a good story. Well, mission accomplished. Everything's back together and working perfect. And the AC system's putting good cold 45-degree air out the vents. So I'm happy to be done with this project.